assumed national student. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is World Deal on Spectrum TV. Our first story today is that Israel allowed 108 trucks carrying flour, baby food, and medical equipment into the Gaza Strip on Wednesday. The Israeli military said, as UN officials reported, that distribution issues had meant that no aid had so far reached people in need. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel would be open to a temporary ceasefire to enable the return of the hostages. But otherwise, he said he would press ahead with a military campaign to gain total control of Gaza. After an 11-week blockade on supplies entering Gaza, the Israeli military said a total of 98 aid trucks entered on Monday and Tuesday. But even those minimal supplies have not made it to Gaza's soup kitchens, bakeries, markets and hospitals, according to aid officials and local bakeries that were standing by to receive supplies of flour. In the meantime, Israeli airstrikes killed at least 6 Palestinians guarding aid trucks against looters, Hamas officials said today. It further underlined the problems hindering supplies from reaching hungry people in Gaza following Israel's 11-week-long blockade. The Israeli military said 107 trucks carrying flour and other foodstuffs, as well as medical supplies, entered the Gaza Strip from the Karim Shalom crossing point on Thursday. But getting the supplies to people sheltering in tents and other makeshift accommodation had been fitful. So far, an umbrella network of Palestinian aid groups said 119 aid trucks have entered Gaza since Israel eased its blockade on Monday in the face of an international outcry. But distribution has been hampered by looting by groups of men, some of them armed, near the city of Khan Yunis, the network said. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused the leaders of France, Britain and Canada of wanting to help the Palestinian militant group Hamas after they threatened to take concrete action if Israel did not stop its latest offensive in Gaza. The criticism, echoing similar remarks from Foreign Minister Gideon Saar, was part of a fight back by the Israeli government against the increasingly heavy international pressure on it over the war in Gaza. Netanyahu said, and I quote, "You're on the wrong side of humanity and you're on the wrong side of history." As the flow of images of destructions and anger in Gaza has continued, fueling in protests in countries across the world, Israel has struggled to turn world opinion, which has increasingly shifted against it. In a related development, amid the rubble left by Israeli bombardment of South Lebanon, campaign posters urged support for Hezbollah in elections on Saturday as the group aims to show it retains political clout despite the pounding it took in the last year's war. For Hezbollah, the local vote is more important than ever, coinciding with mounting calls for its disarmament and continued Israeli airstrikes, and as many of its Shiite Muslim constituents still suffer the repercussions of the conflict. 3 rounds of voting already held this month have gone well for the Iran-backed group. In the south, many races won't be contested, handing Hezbollah and its allies early wins. Ali Tabajan, age 21, was seen chanting, "We will vote with blood." This indicates loyalty to Hezbollah. He will be voting in the city of Nabatian rather than his village of Adisa because it is destroyed. It's a desert, he further added. Meanwhile, The South rubble-strewn landscape reflects the devastating impact of the war, which began when Hezbollah opened fire in support of Hamas at the start in October 2023 of the Gaza conflict and culminated in a major Israeli offensive. Elsewhere, Iranian and U.S. negotiators will resume talks today in Rome to resolve a decades-long dispute over Iran's nuclear ambitions, despite Tehran's supreme leader warning that clinching a new deal might be insurmountable amid clashing red lines. The stakes are high for both sides. President Donald Trump wants to curtail Tehran's potential to produce a nuclear weapon that could trigger a regional nuclear arms race. The Islamic Republic, for its part, wants to be rid of devastating sanctions on its oil-based economy. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff will hold a fifth round of talks through Armenia mediators, despite both Washington and Tehran taking a tough stance in public over Iran's uranium enrichment. Although Iran insists the talks are indirect, U.S. officials have said the discussions, including the latest round on May 11 in Oman, have been both direct and indirect. We move now to the Asian Pacific region, where China's foreign ministry today urged the Philippines to immediately stop infringement and provocation in the South China Sea or face China's resolute response. The remark came a day after Beijing and Melania traded accusations following a confrontation between two of their vessels in contested waters of the South China Sea. It was legitimate for China to take necessary measures, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Miao Ning told newsmen today. It further defended the Chinese Coast Guard's response to the Philippine ships. Meanwhile, the China Coast Guard also said it took control measures against Philippine ships and confirmed a collision occurred between the two sides' vessels. In the meantime, Thailand will advocate more international engagement with Myanmar at an upcoming Southeast Asian Leaders Summit next week. Its foreign minister said in a push for international cooperation to border a diplomatic effort to end a protracted civil war. Myanmar has been in the throes of an expanding conflict since its military ousted an elected civilian-led government in 2021, with fighting between the junta and a network of rebel forces displacing more than 3.5 million people and disseminating what was once a promising frontier market economy. A 2021 peace plan created by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations had until recently made barely any progress, but ASEAN's chair, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, has said he made a renewed push for dialogue, including separate talks with junta chief Min Aung Hlaing and the rival National Unity Government. Meanwhile, Thailand's Foreign Minister Maris Sangiampongsa, in an interview, backed Aoun's efforts, which focused initially on trying to secure a ceasefire extension to facilitate humanitarian assistance following a devastating March earthquake that killed more than 3,800 people. Still in the Middle East, Pakistan plans to offer concession to U.S. companies to investigate in its mining sectors as part of negotiations with Washington over tariff, its Commerce Minister told newsmen, as Islamabad seeks to capitalize on Trump's administration's interest in boosting trade with South Asia. Pakistan faces a potential 29% tariff on export to the United States due to a $3 billion trade surplus with the world's biggest economy, under tariffs announced by Washington last month on countries around the world. Tariffs were subsequently suspended for 90 days so negotiations could take place. Pakistan Commerce Minister Jam Khalem said that Islamabad would offer U.S. businesses opportunities to invest in mining projects primarily in Pakistan, Balochistan province through joint ventures with local companies, providing concessions like lease grants. Meanwhile, the minister said that would be in addition to efforts to increase imports from the United States, particularly cotton and edible oils, which are currently in short supply in Pakistan. Let's move now to the Russia and Ukraine war scene where Russia and Ukraine began a major prisoner swap today that was agreed on at the first direct talks in more than 3 years, a Ukrainian military source said today. U.S. President Donald Trump said the prisoner exchange had already been completed, but Kiev and Moscow did not confirm this, and a military source said the swap was still underway. The prisoner swap was the only concrete step towards peace the two sides agreed at the talk in Istanbul. Trump said in a post on Truth social media, "Congratulations to both sides on these negotiations. This could lead to something big." Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of soldiers on both sides are believed to have been wounded or killed in Europe's deadliest war since World War II. Although neither side publishes accurate casualty figures, tens of thousands of Ukrainian civilians have also died as Russian forces have besieged and bombarded Ukrainian cities. In the meantime, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov cast doubt today over the Vatican as a potential location for peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, saying that the Holy See itself would find it uncomfortable to host two mainly Orthodox Christian nations. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said on Tuesday that Pope Leo XIV had confirmed his willingness to host talks during a phone call with her. The Vatican press office declined to comment further. Pope Leo, the first US-born pontiff, said soon after his election this month that the Vatican could act as a mediator in global conflict without specifically mentioning Russia and Ukraine. Meanwhile, Lavrov, speaking at the Diplomatic Academy in Moscow today, played down the idea of the Vatican as a next venue and criminally said there was yet any. I'll check that again. The criminally said there was not yet any agreement on where a new round of talks would take place. Still in Europe, the former head of Ukraine's armed forces has said Kiev cannot hope for a miracle to happen and regain all the territories it had lost at the war with Russia. Valery Zaluzhny said in a speech that Ukraine should not dream of restoring either its borders established with the 1999 collapse of the Soviet rule or the frontiers just before Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. President Vladimir Zelensky wants the 1999 borders restored, but acknowledges Ukraine cannot recapture all occupied land by force and that diplomacy and time will be needed. In a related development, Poland is looking into whether any explosive devices were planted where a ship from Russia's Shadow Fleet was seen moving suspiciously near a power cable linking Poland and Sweden on Wednesday. Poland Prime Minister Donald Tusk said NATO has beefed up security in the Baltic following a string of incidents in which power cables, telecom links and gas pipelines were damaged in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Shadow Fleet refers to vessels used by Russia to ship oil, arms and grains in violation of international sanctions imposed over its war in Ukraine. Talks told reporters during a meeting with Polish Navy commanders that they are still investigating whether any explosives were planted. It has to be checked very carefully. Arib Hewelusi is still at sea, and for now there was no worrisome signal. After the break, future Queen of Belgium caught up in Harvard foreign students ban. Do stay joined to watch for these and many more stories right after the breather. Many thanks for staying tuned. Let's move now to the White House, where Donald Trump's administration has moved to end Harvard's ability to enroll international students, escalating a standoff with America's oldest university. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem wrote on X that the administration had revoked Harvard student and exchange visitor program certification as a result of their failure to adhere to the law. Meanwhile, Harvard, in a statement, described the move as unlawful, noting that the university is fully committed to maintaining Harvard's ability to host international students and scholars who hail from more than 140 countries and enrich the university and this nation immeasurably. The university added that Harvard is working quickly to provide guidance and support to members of its community, emphasizing that retaliatory action threatens serious harm to the Harvard community and the country and undermines Harvard's academy and research mission. In the meantime, Princess Elizabeth, the 23-year-old future Queen of Belgium, has just completed her first year at Harvard University, but the ban imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump's administration on foreign students studying there could jeopardize her continued studies. The Trump administration revoked Harvard's university ability to enroll international students and is forcing current foreign students to transfer to other schools or lose their legal status in the U.S., while also threatening to expand the crackdown to other colleges. The Belgian Royal Palace spokesperson, Laura van Doorne, said that Princess Elizabeth has just completed her first year. The impact of the Trump administration decision will only become clearer in the coming days or weeks. They are currently investigating the situation. The palace communication director, Xavier Barrett, added that they are analyzing this at the moment and will let things settle. A lot can still happen in the coming days and weeks. Away from that, a Slovak court will rule on May 29 whether Slovak National Bank governor and European Central Bank policymaker Pete Kazimir is guilty of corruption, the court spokeswoman said today. The case dates back to Kazimir's previous position as finance minister before he became the central bank's chief in 2019. Kazimir, who is a member of ECB's rate-setting governing council, denies any wrongdoing. Prosecutors have proposed a jail sentence in the middle of the applicable 1 to 5 range, Slovak media reported. A guilty verdict by a specialized criminal court would not force Kazimir out of office, as it would still be appealed to a higher court. Kazimir was on a foreign trip on Friday, and the central bank had no immediate comment. In Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo's Senate has stripped former President Joseph Kabila of his impunity, paving the way for his prosecution over his alleged backing of rebels in the east. Authorities have accused him of treason and war crimes, saying there was a substantial body of documents, testimonies and material facts linking Kabila to the M23 armed group, which has taken control of several towns in the Middle Ridge East. Kabila, aged 53, has not commented on the accusations, but has in the past denied any connection with the insurgents. Nearly 90 senators on Thursday voted in favor of his treason prosecution, while 5 opposed it. The former president, who led the country between 2001 and 2019, did not appear before the Senate to defend himself. After stepping down, he was given the title of Senator for Life, which gives him legal impunity. On environmental matters, several people are feared dead after a small plane crashed into California neighborhood before dawn, destroying homes and setting cars on fire. At least 10 houses were burned or hit by debris that spread over a wide area, and cars on both sides of a street went up in flames, with a Cessna 550 slammed into the ground in San Diego. San Diego's Assistant Fire Department Chief Dan Eddy said that there are more than one fatality that were found so far, but we're waiting to get the registered numbers that were on the plane itself. Also adding that when it hit the street, the jet fuel went down. It took out every single car that was on both sides of the street. Lastly, in the news at this hour, rising flood waters stranded more than 50,000 people in eastern Australia as torrential rain plummeted waterlogged towns for a second day and engorged rivers swallowed roads, leaving 2 dead. Police have pulled 2 bodies from the floodwater on the Myth North Coast, a river-branded region of rugged hills and fertile valleys about 400 kilometers north of Sydney. Authorities launched a major search and research mission as people clambered atop cars, houses and highway bridges to escape the tide of muddy waters. The storms have in some areas dumped more than half a year's worth of rain over just 3 days, the government weather bureau said. And with that, wrap up our package for you on Worldview today. Do ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. I am Emedion James and you've been watching Worldview on Spectrum TV. Do enjoy the rest of your day and bye for now.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.